Hey bro, I almost thought you were playing StarCraft 2. Many such cases. Unfortunately, StarCraft 2 is a very dead game. Extremely dead. The only people still playing it, Koreans and Grandmasters. Just setting everything up and making sure everything's correct. I always have to manually add the YouTube stream link. You're an ad right now. If it's giving you ads on Twitch, you do know you can watch on YouTube, right? Have you ever used RP Market? RP Maker? I have. I don't like it. I like Twitch, Carlton. I used to like Twitch too. I'm sitting down and looking at metrics on whether or not there's going to be just an entirely new... I wouldn't say entirely new, actually. Basically, it's a question of whether or not I'm going to direct streams to the secondary site or to my secondary channel that is meant to be used as an archive of my shit to begin with. So that was something that I had been doing for a while, but I mainly use it for clips and things. It's not something I can be able to manage by myself anymore. Too much shit happening at any one time. It's very unfortunate. This website used to be good. Now it's not. No website is good anymore. They're all shit. It was always a lie. We're here just to suffer. What's my favorite Pokemon? Entei. Hard cap. Not a second of hesitation. Who doesn't want to fight Godly Fire Dog? You should just let your favorite website become Pornhub Live. Nah, Pornhub Live at least lets me see the vagina. I have to go off the expectation that I might see some vagina. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. Entei is indeed a dog. The fact that canonically this character is literally an imagination of a small child is fucked up. That being said, even if Entei is an imaginary dog, bro, who would you have ever want to have as the source of an imaginary dog? Granted by Pokemon, in the shape of letters. Raikou looks as Jolteon's small to beast nests. True. True.
Entei likes to be called Daddy.
He probably would, actually. Yes, I did know that. Yep, well, that comment's not gonna get approved until I'm done. I don't know why it would block the word semen. Bad Automod. Bad. Bad. We like semen here. That's getting clipped. It probably doesn't. Well, maybe. I actually don't even know. Let's find out. That is a lot of wealth notes I just got. Was Ziggy correct? Is this the sketch? That is 4
I cannot
wealth
carry
notes.
this.
What's the shittiest Pokemon? Well,
I cannot
that's gonna
carry
require
this.
context. What is the framework for which we work from shitty? Do we mean in terms of a shitty Pokemon, or a shitty Pokemon
Welcome.
concept, or a Pokemon that just is a failure in general? That's ass. This is full again already. Ooh.
Thought I heard something.
Togepi. I was just reading his reply. I don't think it's Togepi.
Stay in the light.
Sudowoodo. That's my answer. Fucking tree. It's a boxing tree. What kind of good does a boxing tree have? It looks cool, but it's practically useless. totally plush. Trying to sound good level score for my game. Any thoughts? You have to tell me how your system works before I can give you suggestions. Otherwise, it won't flow correctly. A Pokemon game. That depends. Do you want traditional leveling? No. How Pokemon level, it seems first stream leaders use level 14, but they have a weak weakness being exploited. Well, on the most simplistic level of understanding, you could say that the entirety of Pokemon is just a very big game of rock, paper, scissors. The problem with Pokemon leveling is that Pokemon levels are dictated as such as to gate lower level players from being able to tame, control, and efficiently win with higher level Pokemon in their repertoire, as a form to discourage and prevent twinking. This is why all of the original badges were designed and coded in the games to be what they were. They were a form of a beef gate. The beef gate itself being two-part. One coding. You've never heard what twinking is? See, this is the reason why things require understanding and lessons and logic, because I'll say words, and then people who have never done video game design will be like, what does that word mean? Hold on, I'm going to teach my child. Wow, none of those things are what the definition of twinking is supposed to be. There's twinkling, and then there's tinking. These people, and don't even dare put in what is twinking, like on Bing. Okay, I'll just tell you then. Okay, so you see how I have these stash tabs specifically labeled with gear? And that it's already been pre-crafted with the kind of power level that I did not have when I started this leave. This is what we call twinking. I'm taking powerful gear, and I am handing it down to future characters with the explicit intention of giving them an even more powerful head start than I had when I began. So, a form of twinking, as it exists in Pokemon, is getting a high-level Pokemon, putting it inside of your Pokebox, going to a gym or going to a Pokecenter, giving a player who you have the intended purpose of giving it to your Pokemon so that when they start out from level 1, they have an even easier time than what they would have had if they had started out with a normal starter. That's what twinking means. And the problem with twinking is that it is a reward, actually. It's not an unintended feature. It is actually planned around, which is the reason why badges were designed the way that they were designed. Number one, you got HMs and TMs at use on command whenever you needed them, but also, you could only command Pokemon up to a specific level until you got the next badge. It's the tagline in the badges in the first 4 generations that says, Pokemon under X level will not, or above X level will not obey you. There was a forcible percentage of random chance during a combat that your Pokemon would just disobey constantly. So, to prevent this, you're supposed to level your Pokemon normally, evolve them through the ratio charts just like you would at any other point in time. Then, as you start leveling further, then you can command your level 9 Entei. Or your level 90 Mewtwo that you twinked from another version of Pokemon Blue and Red, or Silver and Gold. I don't know who you mean by that, Gingerbent, but yes. The problem is that it depends on the context in which it is done that dictates whether or not it's cheating. In tabletop roleplay games, twinking is usually what we call munchkin characters, or just what we call a metagamer who is power gaming. Most people only know of this term by the concept of min-maxing. But min-maxing does not describe what twinking is, because twinking is just the action of taking gear and giving it to some other lower level character. That's all it means. In this game, we literally have an item designed to do that, which is Tabula Rasa. That's why it has no stats. And every single slot is linked and white. I am trading defenses directly for considerable customizability and power. Same reason why we have stats and 5 links with really good stats on them, but not a 6 link. And of the 6 links that I was finally able to get with one of my Beastcraft recipes, they're weapons. A 6 link is extremely powerful. Giving somebody a 6 link like that and allowing them to have full customizability and full power with their builds is fucking insane. So they don't do that. That is all twinking is, and that is all twinking means. And now you know. I don't even think I've answered your question. Oh, you're talking about that person. Those are 2 different people. Those are 2 different people. The person in that clip from TikTok that's screaming about having easy modes in games is somebody who is petitioning directly to the corporations to say people like me don't get to have fun because they don't want to try. The person who is complaining about Stardew Valley is the person who retweeted that person, unless that person is the same person. I don't know, because this person already had me blocked on Twitter before I even knew what the fuck was happening at the time. But the person who posted the video and had all the clout on her shit was a person who, yes, cheats and mods in Stardew Valley because they don't want to do watering of their plants. Now, in context, I play Stardew Valley modded, but the only thing that I mod is my speed value, and I make it so that time inside of the caves and Skull Cavern is paused at 0. That's it. That's all I do. And I play by myself. So it's not even like I'm affecting someone. I'm certainly not affecting anyone by playing the way that I play. And I play for my enjoyment, as I like to experiment. I don't go on the internet and complain about it. I don't bitch, whine, and moan about it. If somebody would have come and say, Carl, you can't do that! You're cheating! I tell them, suck my dick. Because that's how that's supposed to usually go. In this case, you're talking about a person trying to take away control from other people and their ability to play the game. And then when they're asked, why do you think that you're allowed to do that? They say, shut up! We don't listen to evil people like you! It's very bizarre how people can justify it like that, but it is where we are now. Oh. Stash tab complete. Do I already have one of these? I do not. I already have one of those. I know I have one of those.
Hello.
Unfortunate. And they have such good life lulls.
Farewell.
The e-girl had a father figure she'd know about working towards a goal. Wow! The daggers are coming out today. Now, some things actually take effort. Also, do not pick Charmander and Light Platinum. Wild Venipede have rollout. It's ridiculous. That's wild. You asked a question and I don't think I answered it yet. If you want a game to have normal Pokemon leveling, but you want to reward the player for playing side content, the way that I would design the Pokemon is, instead of using badges and gyms as a gating mechanism, decide whether or not you want a linear game or if you want a tournament game. The problem with Pokemon, as it exists now, as can be seen with all the other side story parts of the franchise, is that Pokemon has always been a tournament game. But it plays both as one, a narrative story, and then also a tournament game on top of it. Here's the tournament. Here's the linear stories of each generation. They're directly conflicting with each other and getting to the content, as it were. You play the game to get through the tournament sections, but then there's overworld and story on top of it. If what you want is an entire world of tournaments where you can just fight other gamers and players, Pokemon level should be gated specifically to either a point in the story where you give players the ability to know that they can just challenge anyone in this region now, or you inverse it so that your Pokemon rank actually dictates where you go in the story. And in order for you to be able to move forward and continue, you actually have to compete your components. But it can't be both at the same time. If you go with this method, where the story is controlled by your actual level, then you're looking at something that's a little bit more like a competitive form of Monster Hunter. And by a competitive form of Monster Hunter, I mean you're actually fighting the enemy. You actually fight the trainers. You fight the gym leader. And then you get to your next ranking. But it's not controlled by the amount of badges that you have. The only thing that I would gate behind that would be locking the Elite Four away until you have all the badges. But then after, at any point you have all your badges and you've completed all the gym leaders, which is important, getting the badges and then also defeating the gym leaders, then it's open season. Otherwise, go with the other method. Because players need to learn what the fuck they're doing before they do it. And then on top of that, if they die because they suck, they can't say, no, the game didn't teach me. Because that's something a lot of people would do. I've watched people do that. What other way can I ever do it? If I were you. So, for example, one of the ways that you could be able to do that is one of the things that was actually discussed concerning Path of Exile. Ziz held I wouldn't say press conference. Hold on. Here's my window. There it is. So, a few days ago, and by a few days I mean I think maybe a week, considered at this point, but some odd days ago, Ziz did a podcast with Chris Wilson, one of the designers, if not one of the head lead designers, behind Path of Exile. And one of the problems that he talked about on the podcast, because it's going into the video that I've been making for a while, it was one of the final pieces of the puzzle I needed, because I needed the words to come out of a designer's mouth. One of the problems is that people don't like leveling their characters, and the reason why is because you've physically watched me level all of these characters on stream. Usually it takes me 6 to 12 hours. Even when I'm forcing in speedrunning quickly, it can take up to 6 to 8 hours to roll a new character, and that's because I have to play through the fucking game. I have to get all the way through the game, and then scale it to maps. What we consider the end game in Path of Exile is the mapping. You have to get to maps in order to be able to actually push your character any further after you are done with the story. Not to do that would be what we call the Hideout Warrior Challenge, where you're essentially never using maps. You never go inside the Atlas. You just specifically farm areas of the game. And it's a legitimate way to play. It's how we usually get most of the testing data to understand what drop rates are like in the game and how well they're actually playing for you. And on top of these systems that exist, one of which I'm doing right now, you have things, wrong map, Carl. You have things like the Aspirant's Plaza, which gives you the access to the Labyrinth, of which the way to get into the Eternal Labyrinth, one of the side contents of the game, is to receive an offering of the Goddess, which once you finish with either A, something that will reward you an offering of the Goddess, or B, you finish doing a map trial, you receive it upon clicking the oblique? Yes, that's the word I'm looking for, oblique, at the end of the trial. And then you're given a offering of the Goddess, which you then put into the font to then start your Eternal Labyrinth run. Then you have beast crafting, which is in the menagerie. Requires beasts that are either captured in the wild of your map or inside of your maps. And by in the wild of your map, I mean inside of part 1 and part 2 of the game. Then you have the Azurite Mine, which requires Voltaxite Sulfite, which can be found inside of game zones or inside of your maps. It's found usually inside of your maps in increasing qualities, because that's the only way you're going to fill this motherfucker up, because you're not filling it up by getting 34 Sulfite a damn map. If you choose to do that much, congratulations, you like punishing yourself. But so on and so on and so on and so on. Not to mention all of the other additional things that I can't physically show you without being in the map, as well as metamorphs from Tane's laboratory. Oshabi and the Sacred Grove, the ritual altars that randomly spawn, Expedition itself, and the addition of... I can actually show you that right at the end of where I wanted to be. Yes, I am. Things like Expedition and the actual logbooks that can be used to build a map. Things that I plan on doing today. And all this shit. All of this content sits on top of the game. But the problem is that all of this is what we would consider to be endgame content. Endgame because it comes at the epilogue, after finally defeating Katava and getting your last point of experience. Or not point of experience, your last passive point reward. If I want to access any of these things in the game, I have to get to the maps. But if I have to get to maps by playing through another character, I'm going to fucking hate myself. So, the hope that they come up with is that they either lower the time of the leveling process, make twinking possible, make power leveling possible, or come up with some method that allows us to scale our way to the endgame without having to do the same tired content over and over again. In terms of Pokemon, to make that possible, that would be adding mini games and other things to make you not want to hurt yourself, but also making it possible that instead of being a Pokemon trainer, you could do that thing that was part of, I think, a couple of the more important midsection animes. Whatever job it was that Brock ended up doing rather than being a trainer himself. Not necessarily a Pokemon breeder, it was an entirely different contest where basically it was a Pokemon dog show. That should be a legitimate thing inside the Pokemon universe in terms of the games that should be done and could be done by the player as a way to get to its version of an Elite Four. Don't treat it like side content, like, yeah, you're a really good trainer, but also your fucking Articunos is best in show. No, it should be two things, two lines directly going with each other. Like, the fact that it hasn't been like this for a while is fucking weird to me, because I remember that explicitly being something that the anime did. It would not hurt anything. It would not affect anything. You would still have the same way to do it, but then you'd also have this somewhere in the world. The important thing there is that if you're going to feature it, you set it out, you actually work on the system. Don't just treat it like it's a piece of side content. Like, oh yeah, they're fucking around with that if they want. Treat it like it's a real piece of content, and then decide how you want to actually advertise it. Do you want to advertise the game as, now you have a new mode of play that has never been before seen, Pokemon breeding and contests? Or do you have it as something that you don't openly advertise in the game, but you show a hint of inside of a trailer by them getting one of the Pokemon award ribbons, so that the player can discover it themselves? Most of the things I just described are things that are slowly fettered and dripped to you, like incursion and everything else is through the game. But that's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. Game Freak employees are overworked because Pokemon Company will not give them the ability to get new fucking employees. And they keep trying to make a small indie developer-sized team work on giant patches of expansions and content. And every single cycle, they end up taking more and more away from the game, because they have to prioritize what they think is going to be the thing people want, rather than what people actually fucking want. Look no further than how much people actually love all of the side Pokemon content, including things like Mystery Dungeon, and how over the years, especially with the example of Sword and Shield, they have just been backsliding over and over and over and over again. Also, there's a lot of stuff I said in chat. I'm reading. As your Pokemon level up, planning becomes more boring and fruitless. Over-leveling, at least for the first gym, is untenable, unless you could spend way too much time. There's always going to be a diminishing return to power leveling, which is the entire point. That's why badges existed as they did. They have a purpose, but it's just that the purpose is meaningless, because you're playing a single player game. If a player really wants to sit there and grind forever, you cannot stop them. So you have to be able to plan around and also modify for that inevitability. special place in my heart for Pokemon. My god, most of you shit's just crap. Indeed. I wouldn't play it. I couldn't bring myself to play it. Why would I? Why would I do that to myself? Watch this game become dog shit. And then expect people to just turn around and say, yes, that's absolutely fine. That's what we wanted to see. Physically hurts my head. That instantly became shit. Gen 1erism started back in Gen 2, disappeared in Gen 3, and then crept back into the series in Gen 6. True. The problem with Gen 1erism is that Gen 1 was the beginning of where the cycle and loop of the gameplay being at its optimal mechanical, and peep the words I say here, optimal mechanical prowess was fine. As you started adding more things to the game, and as you started adding more people in the player base to the game, those who thought that they should have everything catered to them was on the rise, to the point of annoyance. That's actually okay. Burning area. This is a really good poison jewel. Because they have legacy appeal and that's all they got, selling me a different flavored Ralph. Doesn't win me over, it makes me appreciate the original more, picking Pokemon because they are cool versus picking them because they're strong. You can make the case that Gen 1-erism didn't start with Gen 2. The reason why they used so many Gen 1 mons is because it was more of a direct sequel. That is true. But this is then the problem with them basically not coming up with any more iconic designs. I mean, technically, you could say that that is the entire problem behind even something like Pikachu still being this franchise mascot. It's not to say that other Pokemon inside of all the gens are not immediately striking and or iconic within their own rights. Me, I'm forever stuck on a fucking Fire Dog, dude. But Electric Rat, Fire Dog, sexualized Leaf Pokemon, and then all the memes that could be made about the generation starters. Not to say anything about Funky Monkey, but the entire problem with Pokemon is that it is something that people grew up with, and so they have a tie to their favorite Pokemon, period. There's nothing you're gonna do about it. They are too forever stuck on it. So for those kids that grew up twinking Mewtwo into Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2 from their copies of Blue, Red, and Silver and Gold, and if they're lucky, Crystal, they're going to be the kinds of players that are going to look at every generation and say, how does this compare to the one that I like? Then all the underneath generations that had all this nice shit that used to be in the games that isn't there anymore, they're going to look at those players the same way they're going to look at each other and say, why the fuck are you here? It's going to flabbergast everybody collectively, because no one's going to feel like they're being serviced directly by the Pokemon Company and by Game Freak, because Game Freak can't correct and course correct for all of these things going in. People don't even want to listen to them. What the the problem is? To think that people would listen to them after? That's the side effect of people being, well, I would hate to say the word privileged, but being this kind of person who would do that. It's unfair to the designer, it's unfair to the consumer, because the consumer doesn't know what he wants. It's painful. Because with something like, say, Detective Pikachu, the reason people flip for that isn't because, oh my god, look at all the Mons. It's, yo, there's a talking Pikachu. Or at least in the consideration of the movie, it's a talking Pikachu that's being voiced by Ryan Reynolds. The consideration of the possibility of what people have wanting to see there is that they wanted to see the shit come to life. And they did. And it was successful. And hopefully it'll be successful again. And when it comes to the rest of this shit, yeah, they kind of don't have the ability to make use of these new toys and new tools that they make. It's just like there. And with it being there, they just don't utilize it whatsoever. To the point that people have to ask themselves, are they doing it on purpose? Silly story with some fan favorites, yeah. How are you gonna sell a Zoomer on Vanillite? Man's ice cream. True. It's all true. I mean, if they're a good businessman, they'll find a way, but these people aren't good businessmen anymore. If they really want to take the reins of acting like they were.
Hello. I will see you again.
Hold on. Because the first thing I saw after I looked back was Jello strikes me. So it started out before he hits that sycamore for alligator. New gens rely on old mons too much. Look. Listen. We respect Totodile in this goddamn house. Alright? We respect Totodile in this fucking house. But respect my man's name. Jello strikes me as the kind of guy who films for his life. Are you talking about Jello Apocalypse? All cap when you spell that man's name. Need to poo. Hey. E. I'm back now. I temporarily poop. Still confused who you're talking about when you say, oh yes. Okay, now I'm reading it. The vote guy, yes, that's Jello Apocalypse. I was confused why the hell he came up in conversation. From the Book of Coral, chapter 19. For in the house we respect our totodiles, may they grow fierce and strong. If I have opinions about a person, I have opinions about a behavior that they exhibited, not about the person themselves. I don't know the person personally, and I don't personally watch its content. Widespread destruction. That's a really good jewel. These are horrible things. Okay.
Welcome. I will see you again.
Ooh, who's bouncing a basketball in your house? Nobody. What makes a good character design? What makes a good character design is something that is immediately striking but unforgettable once you've seen it. It's actually the reason why I end up listening to JRPG soundtracks on my stream. Right now, I'm pretty sure what I'm listening to is directly from Crystal Chronicles. Crystal Chronicles is iconic in and of itself because of the fact that it was from the GameCube. An era from where many bangers stem and flow. That's why it's getting remade. And yet, how many characters can you say, and not the famous ones, but ones that stick out from stories, can you say are memorable to you? You remember their name, you remember their character, you remember their story, you remember who they are, what they do, etc. For most people, this tends to be how they feel about Earthbound. I think this is Earthbound 0 that's playing. No, that's Mother. But her great transition in universe. Couldn't have planned it better myself. Mother 2, Earthbound, Mother 3. Can you really name off the top of your head some of the most iconic characters that you remember for a fact? And can you say that your relationship to them is the exact same and should be the exact same as the relationship somebody else will have to them? Can you say to someone who has never experienced the Legacy of Kain that they will get a great time investment if all they ever do is sit down, go to YouTube, and watch the movie cuts on double time? Not likely. Can you say that every single character that you design will be as iconic as some of the ones that made you encouraged to make games? It's not a promise. Same thing it elaborates on soundtracks and music in general. There is no promise that you know, or that other people will know, and have that relationship to it as you will. So it's always important upon you to put your best foot forward and to make sure that impression becomes clear with every single bit of the things that you design, so that nobody can say that you never tried. The alternative is to not do that, but who wants unmemorable characters? At that point, you're just consuming Disney shit. Do I remember Y2K? I remember it, but not for the good reasons. Which is probably worse. It's one thing to be remembered because you're iconic. It's another thing to be remembered because you are a perfect example of what not to do. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy remembered for going on a rant about how people could finally accept a new, different variation of the JRPG model. You shit the landing, and then you say, no, gamers are just entitled pieces of garbage shit. They'll never understand. It was never real. That's not the way to be. It's not the way to be. It's not the way to act. It's not the way to speak. It's not the way to do anything. But that's what the creator of Y2K did. And that's his legacy now. He could have just had an unsuccessful chance trying to get people to like something that they wouldn't necessarily like. No. It had to be XYZ. So now, that's what goes on the epitaph of his company and his game. How to make a good game. Look like your game. Do the opposite. Profit. Yeah, perfect example of my point. Doesn't mean you can't take from some things that have been done and make good. Hello. I'm so yawny. I have to ask myself if I need to take a nap. I don't think I need to. But there's 70 billion different ways to do things. I would say, as a solid piece of advice, don't be the person who has to be used as an example of what you're doing wrong. I have to go back to that branch to make sure that it's not a closed off path. Her design is really multifaceted, from the visual representation to the actions between to the writing. For most intents and purposes, when most people say character design, they usually mean the actual art involved, because that's an entirely different team that handles that, right? Like, you can have a really good top-tier himbo, a waifu, but the application of their actual debut is just dog shit. Like, absolute dog shit. You look back and you're like, we had all the pieces to make a full-ass puzzle. It's like, well, yeah, but they still shit the landing. Like, in today's game design, you require a little bit more than just a woman with giant flopping titties. But if you were to have something with just giant flopping titties, you wouldn't be looked down on you for having it. I ain't gonna be mad with some titties. I ain't gonna be mad with all that wrist. But it will beg the question, what am I here for? Because I know I came for titty, but I stayed because of her personality. That's how people are supposed to see characters. You like them because of who they are, not what they're doing. Road. Stop hitting me, monsters. See if I can get some more fossils in that area. I gotta play Pokemon anytime soon. If you're asking if I'm gonna play a console version of Pokemon, I'd say the answer is I don't know. This is not the way of the crawler. I going to play it on the Switch, I have to get a actual dockable Switch. 'Cause I have a Switch Lite. If you mean play Pokemon on the emulator, that can be arranged. But it'd have to be into what I'm doing, otherwise I'm gonna be annoyed. And I don't want to play annoyed. That's not fun. Favorite Mon? I'm pretty sure I've already answered this. Entei. Besides Entei, every evolution of Charmander and Totodile.
I cannot do this yet.
Missed that cue. There's no problem, Snake. I think you got here right after he asked me that. Or right before he asked me that. I don't know. Time is blending together for me. I should have done there. Lift my head off the keyboard. Aww. That requires 966. What's bunk?
Welcome. Farewell. How am I gonna get this fucking mace? I have to think. Well, that's ass. know. Stay in the light.
Favorite anime? That's a very hard choice. Favorite child-adjacent anime? Detective Conan. Favorite adult anime? That's an even harder choice. Fushigi? It's either Yu Yu Hakusho or Fushigi Yugi. I accept no substitute. What about favorite manga? Shaman King. Either Shaman King or The World God Only Knows.
Exile.
Let's not have regeneration problems, shall we? I said let's not have regeneration problems, shall we? Thank you. Cannot be open with that, huh? What are my thoughts about Victor Venona? My thoughts about Victor Venona are well known. Does this go for the entire map? Well, at least it's mesmerizing as fuck. How would I even have time to get to all of the parts of the map?
Let's see what this tower can really do. Put out new mycelium. New roots.
Oh yeah, they're coming.
It's put out new mycelium. New roots. Divine power. Put out new mycelium. New roots. Divine power. Put out new mycelium. New roots. Put out new mycelium. New roots. Do not let them reach the purification pump. Divine power! It's branching, exile. The blight is trying to spread. The purification pump.
This is a bit overwhelming, game. Like, this is a lot.
Blight is trying to spread. Put out new mycelium. Those fiends are getting too close to my pump.
I cannot do this yet.
Put out new mycelium. New roots.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the fuck a player is supposed to not be overwhelmed by that. Perhaps this is not the build to deal with this kind of enemy.
Hello.
Hello. See you.
transphobia video. I haven't. I don't know if I want to.
Divine power! Let's see what this tower can really do. Put out new mycelium! New roots! Put out new mycelium! New roots! Branching exile.
See, this is a lot easier to be tenable. I can see the lanes coming. And that way I can be able to deal with a boss if it starts coming this way. Faster than expected. Like that.
It's put out new mycelium. New roots. Trying to spread. It's branching exile.
No, it's branching woman. Stop yelling at me.
New roots! It's branching exile. The blight is trying to spread. It's branching exile! Do not let them reach the purification pump. Let them reach the purification pump. Those fiends are getting too close to my pump.
I cannot do this yet.
Yay! This is a lot of fucking shit to throw at a player. Yay! For a while there, I'm just sitting there watching my hammers do the work. I'm just like...
I cannot carry this.
a lot of shit. Jesus Christ. What? Odium monkeys? Were these items added to display after some added trailers? And when they come on, the most terrifying fucking music plays? Who? Chain of cinemas called Odeon. And they partner with an advertising company called DCM. Okay. Ancient Skull. Ultimate Deceiver. Copy of Justice Courage. Another copy of Sid Breathe.
Cool winds. Celerin.
Welcome. Fate will find you.
Well, at the very least, I know what my next build's gonna be. It's definitely gonna be a miner. The amount of shit that was just on screen right now, ball lightning would eat all that shit up. All of it.
I cannot carry this.
It's a big ass carry case full of meat there.
Let me tell your future.
See you soon. Hello. See you soon.
Let me tell your future. Fate will find you.
Frost blades. Definitely should have already gotten before.
I cannot carry this.
And here I was hoping that it finally dropped my fucking saber. What an idiot. What a stupid dumbass.
Hello. Fate awaits you. Welcome. See you soon. Welcome.
Wait, why am I selling this?
I will see you again.
I thought it was in my tab. I'm about to make a great mistake. Take a lot of the last one, and then I'm gonna take a long nap for work.
Let's see what this power can really do. The blight is trying to spread. Divine power. It's branching, exile. Divine power.
This is where this kind of gets dangerous. Big, wide, cross-map shit is not my build strong suit whatsoever.
Light is trying to spread. Light is trying to spread.
Now, I need to make sure I can actually keep everything safe.
I cannot do this yet.
Get the portal out the way.
It's put out new mycelium. New roots. The blight is trying to spread. Do not let them reach the purification pump. Put out new mycelium. New roots. It's branching, exile. It's branching, exile. punching exiles. The blight is trying to spread. Divine power! Do not let them reach the purification pump.
Damn! Well, my map's probably dead. Severely dead.
Do not let them reach the purification pump.
Very much dead. Yes, very much so. Very much so. Oh, that sucks. So, blight maps. Builds that are about stationary damage do not work well on them without proper setup. Definitely need a range to build this game. Definitely.
You were born.
This is Pyroclast. I need ball lightning. Since these people refuse to fucking do this, I'm going to have to do it myself. I have to pull up the fucking ball lightning miner ad because of the fact that these motherfuckers do not want to put the shit in a normal, easy, accessible place. Everything's always behind a fucking pay ad. It's garbage. This is why everybody uses the path building community link. We don't have to go to places like this. Why does this not have an actual path building link? Are you fucking serious? Motherfucker put it in his POB planner. Wow. Fucking wow. Beyond annoying. How should a Pokemon map be made? However you want. In that way, Pokemon is very much a JRPG when it comes to map exploration. The problem you still have to remember is that you have to put small little areas in the game where you can have the... I wouldn't say simulacrum. And I also wouldn't say the appearance of, or the illusion of. But you need to put trainers and training areas, as well as capture zones in the game, arranged in such a way that it feels like random encounters, while being very much controlled. None of the fucking equipment is there either. Wow. Fucking wow. Mm. I wonder if I can stick this into paste pen myself. No, I cannot. Manually do this shit myself. That I am not doing. I'm making a folder. There. Did I accept the request? I wasn't even looking at chat. I was sitting here trying to figure out how to unfuck something somebody fucked up on purpose, so they could try to get somebody to give traction for their fucking website. Well, that's fixed.
Nothing like a brisk dip to start the day. Now what? Is it possible to murder someone who's already dead?
What did they do? I'll show you. I was narrating the annoyance I had with what I was doing the entire time it was happening.
It's nice not being dead yet.
Okay, so there is a website distributor by the name of Path of Exile builds. Occasionally, they will copy and paste builds that have been used before, but what they will do is instead of putting the build information the same place all build information would be when you're searching for something, like the kind of builds put together by people like myself, Zizarin, and the rest. When we make shit and we publish it as part of a video, the Path of Building paste bin link will be in the low bar, so that you do not have to do or have to deal with the hassle that this user has designed for their website. In order for me to be able to get to the goddamn link, I needed to deal with all these fucking ads. And whenever I click anywhere on the website, if I want to look at a build, I have to deal with this screen, where they're trying to nickel and dime you to see basic information in a game that is based on the community and its ability to learn information. And if you should not want to pay for it, where they misspelled access with not enough C's, you will have to sit here and look at what we would call a storehouse window. And then you're able to go to the build. The amount of excess time and tedium for what should not be there is more than just annoying. It is the reason why we use Path of Building. Since I'm not going to be bothered to deal with that, all I'm going to do is constantly scan through the actual video itself for any information that I actually need that I don't already have now, that I have actually taken the physical track of what stat points I want. Because be it sitting down and having to physically map out all of the point nodes that I need on all the jewel slots that I want. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. On the map so far. This is okay. I'm going to take that nap now that I've made the character. Set up and gear him. Where's my gold rim? Do I not have a gold rim hat? I swore I have a gold rim. Well then, it appears that I don't. Yes, I'm giving him Crown of Thorns. This projectile damage. That's fine. Take him down. Website creators like that are cockroaches. So one of the downsides of having the bots that have existed in the game before, it's actually one of the good things that Wilson was actually able to talk about on the podcast. They've been able to severely build users like that, but we can't stop their websites from existing. We just find ways to make sure that they can't profit off of people. Okay, I'm going to take my nap now. Maybe an hour of fucking sleeping will get this mental haze out of my way. Bye, everyone. Bye. 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 Let me see if there's a person I can send you to before I leave. The answer is no. Bye. Bye now. Bye. Bye. Bye.